I got a lot of electrical done off camera. Almost the whole front end is wired up, as in like the diff and the power steering, the radiator fan I'm currently working on. Got all the toggle switches working, got the accessory components all tied into the key switch, and the power steering I got wired into the key switch. The idea is to have this almost as identical as RZR, as in all the electric components. So you turn the key on, and you can hear the pump, you can hear the power steering is working, and it cranks over. Got a lot done. So I still need to run wires for the headlights up here and for the fang lights. Those are kind of part of the accessory components of the RZR, so those will have to be tied into the key switch. Before we get to the next part of the video, this part of the video is brought to you by OUXX and their work boots. Alright, so what we have here are boots provided by OUXX. Definitely a lot lighter than it looks. Can you help me out, kitty? Alright, so they're calling these tactical hiking boots. They do have a sort of military boot look. They're saying that this has a waterproof lining in them. They're saying it's made of a suede leather. They're really going for a lightweight boot, and I think they've really done that. These are way lighter than how they look. I am pretty impressed with how light they feel. There's a tag in here, Hydro Guard waterproof systems on it, so we're gonna really see how waterproof they are. So here is your sole. Definitely a type of foam that forms on your foot. I kind of like this material. It feels really squishy, feels like it's pretty comfortable. I do like a good squish to my boot. And the sides are definitely pretty foamy inside, so hopefully it's pretty comfortable wrapped around your leg. These are soft-toed boots, so no steel toe. They're a lace-up design. Looks like there's pretty good traction on the bottom of these. The biggest thing I'm surprised by is these are light. I can't believe how light these are. As far as boots go, I think they look really good. They do have other colors. We'll go to here and see how long it takes water to get inside the shoe. Watch the water run off the leather of this boot.
Oh yeah.
It's like beating right off of it. All right, see how long it takes. All right, I'm filling water now. So
all right, you're 2 minutes and 5 seconds in.
my feet aren't soaked by any means. If you were to accidentally step in a water puddle, your feet aren't gonna get wet. OUXX has all kinds of different types of boots available. If you are interested, use my link down in the description below and use this code to get a 10% discount. So I still gotta run the headlight wires up to here. For the high-low beams, I believe that runs off of a relay. So I'm gonna have to wire in probably the relay for that so the high-low beam works. But I gotta also double check because the snowmobile might also have a high-low relay and all that already in the harness. So I'm probably just gonna run the headlights from the harness up and then use this headlight switch in the snowmobile harness. That's gonna be a thinker. All right guys, so making some progress. I pretty much got all the front end done minus the headlights and the four-wheel drive. Trying to get some other things figured out in the back here. So I got the oil reservoir just kind of mocked up. We're gonna try to use this OEM air box. We're gonna put little filters inside of it that hook up onto each of the throttle body boots and stuff. It might change. So we gotta make sure that there's enough room for both of them in there, and make sure that when the trailing arm comes up that it's not gonna hit anything. I'm also got the coolant lines actually pretty much almost set. I pretty much got the coolant lines hooked up. I just gotta get some fittings to connect some hoses together and make this work, but I'm pretty much just reusing all the hoses from between the snowmobile and the RZR. It's gonna work out. So I gotta plug up the coolant reservoir up here because I'm not using this line coming off. So I'm just gonna plug that off. That was for the intercooler, basically. Nitty gritty stuff, but it's coming along. Basically got everything hooked up that it needs to be hooked up to run. So I just finished up getting the light switch hooked up to the snowmobile harness. Now that took a while. The snowmobile harness, when you start the engine, then the lights are on all the time, and then you have a high beam switch and you activate that and that turns your high beams on. There's no off switch. The RZR uses off, low, and high. Not really sure why, it doesn't really matter, but I wanted to keep it as close to the RZR as possible in that aspect, so I did wire this switch to work with off, low, and high. It just took it just took a while to figure out. I had to bypass some things in the snowmobile harness, but we got it figured out. I did need to run some wires up to the front for the actual lights. Right now I'm checking the harness. I'm sending power into the harness after. So the snowmobile has what they call a load relay. So once there's power from the key and once there's power from the stator, then this relay turns on, which is what turns on the headlights and taillights and stuff, and the radiator fan and whatnot. I'm just gonna keep that in because it's really not that important to take out. I thought about taking it out, but I'm just gonna leave it in for now. If I feel like we need to take it out for radiator fan reasons, then we will. All right, so right now it's off, and then there's low and high. Yeah, works just fine. Now we're obviously not using this headlight. I was just using it for testing purposes, but so I'm gonna cut out the snowmobile harness for the headlight, and then we'll run my own wires up to the front, and that'll hook it right directly into the dash of, you know, the OEM RZR headlights. It's gonna work just perfectly. I also got like I said, not using this taillight, but using it for testing purposes, but I also got power to the taillight. That was pretty simple. For the most part, the whole front end is wired. On the snowmobile, this is a heat exchanger. This is right in front of the track. So basically, this also acts as a Y pipe. So once the thermostat opens up, then fluid from the radiator gets bypassed into that. So that acts as a Y and whatnot, but we're not gonna be using this. So I am getting a Y fitting just to bypass this out of the loop. And then we're just using the RZR OEM radiator because that is plenty big enough. It should be plenty big enough to cool this engine. If for some reason it's not, we do have the other radiator for the intercooler. We can probably put that in the loop, but I don't think that's completely necessary at all. Put in the new pedal. I got the throttle cable right here, so we're gonna have to put that in. This mounting bracket right here, I'm gonna see if I can take that out and make my own, or we have to come up with some sort of extension to tie this into the old bracket. Okay, so I got the headlights all wired up and the low and high switch is working. That's low, off, low, high. So last time I was working on this, I almost got everything hooked up. I'm just waiting on the all-wheel drive, and I just got to put the speed sensor up and just a couple other small things. It clicks on and it does roll over, no problem. Well, I have it unhooked right now, but I was working on this and I was looking at the screen, and all of a sudden it's giving me an error code 1 and error code 2. So I looked it up, and essentially what the error code means, the ECU is not getting detected in the system. Even though when I turn the key on, you can hear the ECU running up in the throttle body area. So I think some of it's working, but for some reason I'm not getting a signal to the monitor anyways. My gut feeling is telling me that when I was hooking up the lights to the switch up here, wondering if I screwed some sort of signal wire up or something. I don't know. Now I did look it up, and some people have said it's possible that you have some resistance in your lines. I've seen some people splice it into their snowmobile harnesses, and they didn't do a good enough job with connection stuff, and it led to some resistance in the electrical wire. So I'm wondering, since I have who knows how many connections that I've made, somewhere down the line I might have resistance too. So I'm gonna double check all my splices and kind of work backwards until I can get this issue figured out. It might start with the error codes, but most likely it won't. We are going to use the RZR muffler just because it already will mount back here. And to be honest, I think this XP Turbo muffler sounds pretty good. I think it's going to make this engine sound pretty good too. So that's our thought process. That's kind of the plan. So we're going to keep adding, trucking along, and hopefully we get this monstrosity of wiring done here soon. So now we're going to finally hook up the throttle pedal. Now this, I just cut this in half. This is a pedal from 2013 RZR. they used cables back in the day. I'm not sure what year they went to electronic throttle, but anyways, so I cut this in half. We're gonna just bolt this into. We're gonna have to make our own mounts and stuff, but this will just get bolted where the old pedal used to be, and then we'll have to drill some holes out to mount this into the pedal. So this will, you know, stay onto the firewall there, and then once you hit the pedal, you pull this cable, and then it goes to the throttle body. So we're gonna drill some holes out and get this thing bolted in. So I got the throttle cable bracket right there. That kind of holds the it just kind of holds the cable against the firewall there for the pedal to pull against. So yeah, it's coming through right there. So now I'm gonna put the pedal in. Hopefully it'll all just kind of go together. I got 2 holes drilled right there for the bracket, and yeah, we're in the home stretch on this. Got the throttle cable ran, still not tied down yet. I'm glad I didn't make any bracket here because this will actually work. I just gotta rethread it, I think. But right now I just have it sitting on there. It's actually almost perfect. I have plenty of extra cable here, so I'm gonna have to tie this up somewhere. I wasn't sure how much I needed, but here's the throttle pedal. Looks pretty nice in there for the most part. We're still gotta figure out, once we get the floor in, we'll have to figure out our spring tension here. And it needs, in my opinion, it needs to come out a little bit more, so maybe we'll come up with something. Put some pressure on this. I think it's gonna work really nicely. I'm still trying to figure out this error code issue. I did do some looking. When this error code does come up, nothing should work. You shouldn't have any fuel pump, you shouldn't have any clicking going on, there should be no spark, should be nothing. And I checked everything. I do have the fuel pump unplugged, but all that is working, and I do have spark. I even tested it. So ideally it should start once we get everything hooked up. I spent the last 10 hours digging through this wiring, trying to figure out if I screwed something up, and I just don't know exactly what's going on. But basically this code means that it's not reading the ECU. The ECU is working and everything's functioning. As far as the engine mounts go, it's not really as bad as I thought it was. Let's crank it over. It's vibrating more than I'd like, and most of it is because the way we have this bracket on this blung bolt. I somewhat questioned it when we did it, but I just don't like how much it's shaking, and I want to redo the bracket for that mount over there. Just get it right on the mount and make it nice and sturdy. Oh, look who's back.
What's going on?
I should ask you the same. Well, looks like we're working on the RZR again.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, since the last video, it's been a little over a month. I've done a lot of work. Like I said, as I was going on this, pretty much all the wiring is done. Right now, we're hooking up this fuel regulator that we had to switch. I already explained that this would have worked, but the fuel regulation was just not in the right spot for this to work properly. So this will work. This has a built-in fuel regulator in it, and it'll work for us. So we're gonna get that installed, and then hopefully get the oil reservoir mounted and the air box mounted, get the coolant finished up, and then it's almost done. We might be able to get the fire up. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at on this. We're
You getting this?
why it's
because you got it on video.
right, why it's riding the struggle bus here, but
I say, I heard once you go black, you don't go back.
it's not even oil. Why? How's this even happening?
That struggle bus,
Oh
man.
my god. Why it's getting the fuel regulator mounted. So we finally got to hold pressure. We this cheap kit Wife's dropping another nut.
There's 2 nuts down there next.
So we finally got the pressure to not leak. So hopefully this regulator works for us. But I just got the vacuum line mounted. These triples, they like to fight you the whole way. I'm putting the air box on. I got the coolant line rerouted. So the air box is gonna sit in there like this. So we're gonna have to come up with some sort of bracket to help this stay in there. But essentially that's kind of how it's gonna be. We might have to cut these tabs off or something. And then we'll probably have some sort of access port here on the firewall. Well, that's gonna be down the road. So now that this is in, we're gonna mock up the oil reservoir somewhere behind here. So it primes up to about 50. Another reason we kind of went this way with the fuel regulator is that if we were to ever put a super or turbocharger on this thing, we have the proper fuel regulator on there already. So we are set. I'm future-proofing this.
You're thinking ahead.
Yes, thinking ahead. So we're gonna attempt to start it up. We have oil in it. Everything should be plugged in. That's important. If it does start, it's gonna be really loud, and it might be extra shaky because the front of the engine isn't exactly mounted yet. So fuel primed. You ready?
Yep.
Might have to fumble with the pressure on this gauge. Looks like it's maybe running a little low on pressure. Fired right up!
I kind of like the sound of it.
You know, it's not super loud being straight piped. It sounds awesome.
Yes, it does.
I am so pumped. I'm gonna plug this thing in too.
Sounds good.
Yes! The code went away! Yes!
The winds.
Code went away! Oh, I'm so happy.
Some dubs.
Okay. Sorry, I'm in ecstasy right now.
Hell yeah.
Gotta adjust the idle a little bit, but looks like once we get the vibration out of it, but it looks like we got this. The clutch is set up pretty good. Let's try her again. I'm trying. I think we just gotta set the idle a little bit.
All right. That makes my heart happy. Who needs an exhaust? Let's just send it.
That sounds actually really good.
Let's just send it.
Oh, looks like the error code came back again. I think we got. Yeah, We'll figure that out later. It's still
It's running though.
running.
I can't hear shit.
Is it loud back there?
A little bit.
It's not loud in the front.
That's good. They're not in the front. Well, I'm in the front. Wow. Yeah.
It's gonna work good.
It's gonna work. We're gonna send it.
It's coming along. Just the tedious things.
Yes.
I guess it's, yeah, we're really at the point of buttoning her up. We're gonna get the exhaust made. So we're gonna have it wrap around here. It's gonna go
Come back into the stock.
to the stock RZR muffler.
Yep.
It's gonna sound, I think it's gonna sound great. And then put the airbox on, get the coolant in there, get the engine mounts figured out yet, but
It's there.
it's there. It runs, and it's gotta get some things figured out. When I started it up at one time, the code was up away, so yeah, sounds good. Sounds really good straight piped. It sounds like a ripper. Oh, I'm happy. Fired right up, so means we got most of the wiring working.
That was just a huge under overtaking.
Yes.
Not much content, but a lot of work.
Yeah.
Thank you for it, bud.
Oh, I had an awesome time building and doing the wiring. I enjoyed it, the whole process. It's just been a long process. And then work got in the way. So, but we're back at it. And
Hey,
we'll keep on working out the kinks, but it's gonna work.
I'd wrap that.
Yep. It's a running motor.
It's a running motor.
Oh,
Soon to be driving.
yep. It's almost there.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.